Welcome to People for Safe Vaccines and Advocate Me, to our wonderful former Senior Constable, Alex Cooney. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us in this very, very important interview.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to see you face to face for once.
Absolutely. We want to say a very big thank you to you, Alex, because how important your letter last year when you approached Advocate Me, you were really a lone voice in in a situation where you could really see a lot of issues that were going to come up 1 year before it all has come up for not just police officers, but to many front health workers as well, frontline health workers and other emergency workers. You could see and identify so many of the risks, and you put that in a really well articulated letter, and you risked your entire career, for that purpose. We wanted to ask you what prompted you to come forward last year and do what you did.
Yeah, basically I was in a space where I could see where we're going, and I could see how police were going to be utilised for agendas behind the COVID-19 pandemic, and basically I couldn't sleep at night doing nothing. I was aware that police were not being told the truth about COVID-19. I was aware that scientific studies, doctors, they're all being silenced. Information has been removed from the internet. Propaganda was being spread on mainstream media. Police were basically buying up and being used as an enforcement tool for this, unjustifiably and unlawfully. I was at a point where I was almost waiting for someone to do something. And just one night I was like, it's got to be me. I have to do something. So my intent behind the letter was purely to email the police commissioner and CC all the police in New South Wales in on the email to let them know that COVID's not what they've been told it is, and that we are unjustifiably removing human rights, but in the process, we're removing our own human rights by enforcing this on everyone else. And I was so deeply concerned by it, and I could see my colleagues were not quite seeing the big picture. And yeah, I guess I could read it in a way, and I knew the vaccine thing would be down the track not very far. So
I think that was very insightful of you, actually, extremely insightful of you to have really picked up a lot of arguments that not many people were talking about back, 1 year ago, almost, Alex, 1 year ago, that we've, developed our friendship as well as your connection with so many people, across the country, even internationally, in terms of a police officer that took an interest in the science, took an interest in considering so many other factors, both the legalities, the science, the risks, okay, and what we've really seen as well, and which needs to be corroborated, is the really adverse impact 1 year on that this has had on the mental health of many police officers who've been asked to really enforce something that they also are not convinced with. How have you found that experience internally?
Internally, as in within the police, you mean?
Yeah, within the police and outside. I mean, in terms of what I've observed myself is that many police officers are not happy with what is going on and they're not happy with what they're being asked to do. So what are your observations on that?
Yeah, along the same lines. I think most of them now are aware that what they're enforcing is unjustified. If we were actually going to these lengths to protect people, the alleged virus or the illness that is going around would be so bad, you'd see people dying, you'd see sickness, you'd see... so just on a broad perspective, the police are frustrated with it. police are frustrated with being called because a neighbour's dogging on another neighbour, you know. Neighbour's gone out twice in one day, I better call the police, you know. It's that human contact's going, and it's wearing on the police. It really is. With the recent run of lockdowns that we've had, my phone's been off the hook. Police just, I can't believe they're doing this. It's not justified. It's, you know, and they're just at their wits' end. A lot of them are off on stress leave, and it's wearing everyone down.
I think this is really, really important to understand and to humanize what is occurring with the police officers themselves, because, you know, in 2019, cardiovascular disease killed 17.9 million people globally. Okay, there are many, many people that are dying of various sicknesses, and I think all of a sudden when we talk about an infectious disease, it puts it somehow in a very different box, when really a pandemic is often measured by mortality. That means by how many people are actually dying. And if there is a successful recovery rate with the COVID, and if in fact some of the dangers around what we're seeing with a lot of scientists coming out saying, if you early vaccinate with this program without proper safety and efficacy, you could have even immune escape variants that can then cause the problem.
Yeah.
You know, you're actually forcing what is called immune selection pressure. And what we're seeing now is this diatribe, I call it, that, you know, this Delta variant that may be creating harm on people, it's not going to be mitigated by these vaccines. Okay, in fact, it could have very well be caused by these vaccines. But what we're seeing now is unqualified individuals like the police commissioner coming out and forming these directions without him being a medical practitioner himself, without him being qualified, and you know, pushing these agendas where now it's forcing a lot of these police officers to think, you know, about the consequences. What you saw coming a year ago is finally, you know, manifesting now. Now, I wanted to ask you about, you know, this, you come now and you're showing your face. Obviously, this is a huge thing for a police officer. You're a former police officer, but I say former because you've just resigned. But that doesn't take away, I believe, your status as to who you are, your contributions to society as a wonderful police officer of, you know, your service. Why have you resigned?
Yeah, okay. So just to qualify some things, I have resigned. I have nothing against the police. I have nothing against any individual in the police force. Still, a lot of my closest friends are in the police force, still serving. We're going great. There's nothing there. Now, with what I did with the letter, the police investigated me for policy breach. Now, that was all fine. The investigators were great. It ran its course to a point. And basically it was came down to that I would openly not follow a direction in relation to COVID. So as far as that goes, from their perspective, I'm not really suitable. I was also put under NDAs, so non-disclosure agreements or gag orders. I couldn't really move or do anything. I noticed no other police were actually stepping forward to voice these concerns. So with the new wave of lockdowns, I had a lot of police come to me saying, you know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I'm like, I'm someone who likes to hide in the background. I'm not a face. I'm not a, you know, that's not me. But unfortunately, it's landing on me at the moment. So I chose to resign so I could act. Now, they may have terminated me. It was never actually mentioned. If they did choose to, it would have been essentially because I would openly not follow the direction. To qualify that further, I've actually served 12 years in the police. Okay, I've never even had a complaint. I've been within the highest statistically in highway patrol in the state. I've always performed extra duties. Like I was pro police, still am. We need them. We need you guys. And that's That's me. So I chose to resign because someone needs to speak. Someone actually needs to say, hey, cops, look, there's things you can do internally. You don't have to just walk away. They're the phone calls I'm getting. People are calling up saying, oh, they're mandated the vaccine. I don't want to do this anymore. We've got to force this BS on our community. And basically every second phone call is I'm going to have to walk away. And here I am. I've come out today because someone needs to say you don't need to walk away.
Yeah,
there's things that there's things police can do internally that are honourable for the organisation that will have a result, and they'll have the right result. And that's my motivation at the moment.
I think, Alex, what you're saying is really important here. Whilst you resign to be able to have a voice outside, to encourage the police officers that are internally to the police force to perhaps consolidate, to come together, to organise themselves, okay? One of the things that we've worked in the last week with you, Alex, as well, is creating that support and saying, you know, Advocate Me is going to be here for you, okay? And, you know, we've got a strategy and we've drafted a letter which we're hoping to send out. And in that letter, we've explored, I think, some of the legalities that I'd like to explore with you. But importantly here, I qualify this. This is an opinion. And, you know, an opinion that is based on the reading of the law, okay? And every citizen is allowed to read the law and to construe what the law actually states. What we're seeing here is the law says A, B, C, D, E, but our government is doing X, E, V, D, whatever it is, you know. I can't even remember my alphabet. That's how busy I am. But, you know, we are seeing some really diabolical implementations of laws that police officers might read, the citizens might read, and it reads to them as, this doesn't sound like they've got the power to do what they're doing, okay?
Right,
and it appears that there's a whole bunch of rules that are being ignored with regards to how delicate any kind of mandate is in relation to medical interventions and treatments are. We've somehow forgotten the whole body of law that is there to actually create a lot of balance, fetters of protections, okay, around when, who, and how medical interventions can be rolled out. What we're seeing is this reactionary application of the laws, okay, as we see them. We're seeing this reactionary endorsement by associations and unions, okay, which we will come to here as well. One of the things that we've put out in the letter, and we hope that all the New South Wales police officers, but all across, this impacts all police officers across the entire country. But specifically, we've highlighted some really important points. And those points are that if the Public Health Acts and the Biosecurity Act talks in terms of when you can do a mandate of this nature, it's fettered by rights of review, by personalised orders, by symptom checks, by medical practitioners making appropriate assessments, by proper risk-benefit analysis, okay, the detriment, okay, is it a hazard, is it a measure? There's a whole bunch of a checklist that you need to go through, and it hasn't happened here. No. We've just got these a la carte governments, employers like the police commissioner going, if the government doesn't do it, we'll do it on all of you.
Yeah,
right, so what we've got here is the police commissioner sending just a direction, not even an individualised direction, going beyond what the government is doing. So he's not a government official in terms of, he's not an authorised officer under the Biosecurity Act or the Public Health Act. Okay, and what we're seeing is that he's saying he's not a medical practitioner, he's not qualified, and he's saying, I reckon I'm reading the Work Health Safety Act. He hasn't even quoted the Police Act. He hasn't quoted the police regulations.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the Police Act or the police regulations that say that you can mandate medical interventions on police officers. Okay, those are the powers and the source of powers for the police commissioner. Add insult to injury, he's talking about engineering controls. He's calling the vaccine an engineering control. Now let's look at the definition of engineering control or administrative controls in the Work Health Safety Act. And what we find is that it doesn't refer to it as a medical intervention. Medical interventions are not referred under the Police Act, the police regulations, and the Work Health Safety Act. And yet, the police commissioner is using the Work Health Safety Act, using these generic terms without them even being defined. What do you see the problem with this, Alex?
Okay, well, I'm going to take you back, well, year and a half ago. Okay, so let's go back to the letter that we put to them. Now, we could see then that the commissioner himself had already been presented with evidence that COVID is not what they say it is, you know, and my letter was just one of many. Either they just went straight in the bin, or he read them and ignored them, or there's, you know, an agenda behind it of which he is helping orchestrate, you know. So we can see that he is using essentially a fear tactic in the police to push this on everyone else. And he is, where am I going with that? Sorry,
well, actually,
excuse me a minute.
I might bringing that back. There was a promise that he made to you in writing, okay, in regards to the response to say that they're not going to mandate it within the police force. And that has been confirmed a number of times. So just like the Scott Morrison making promises it won't be mandated, within a couple of months, they've gone back on their promises. The same thing here with you.
It's happening globally. It's happening, like, it's not isolated New South Wales Police. It's happening across the globe. New South Wales Police are obviously just following the same script, really. And look, this again, I've talked with higher ranking people within the police, and they are lovely people. I don't think for a second they are behind any of this. What we do know is, though, that the commissioner is, I don't know where the strings are being pulled from, but he's been manipulated to perform certain things. And that's what we're getting at. So the police as a whole are great. You know, we need them. We need them in society. We need them to perform their roles. What they're being told, what they're being fed, and what they're being directed to do is the issue.
Totally. And I think coming back, you know, from that dialogue that you had, that was a significant point. I thought that, you know, I thought it was a big point of achievement, having something from the police to say that they won't mandate it. Okay. I thought that was significant. And that reflects, I believe, that there's a lot of senior officers within the police who actually are not really happy about what's going on. Okay. And I feel that whatever has pulled the hand of the police now is it's sort of so perverted that there's this rush all of a sudden to get all the police officers vaccinated. Now, I'm going to put something to you as well that we thought was very concerning. In the direction that the police commissioner Fuller said, I mean, apart from the fact that he referred to the vaccine as similar to PPE or similar to an engineering control, which is completely not in the legislation. I mean, just completely not there. Okay, so they're reading into the law things that they simply cannot read. The other major thing is he's saying 70% of the police force is already double dose vaccinated. Okay, and yet in the next sentence he says there's an increased number of cases in New South Wales, including positive cases. So this is what I put to Fuller. If in fact 70% are double dosed, but you're still getting New South Wales police officers getting positive, that means the vaccines are not working. The vaccines are not working, and you've got that in your own letter. You know, I mean, what do you say when this is presented? Like, you know, what are some of the things that the police officers can do right now when they're presented with these really contradictory statements?
Look, it's up to the police. They're going to have to question. They're going to have to act. You know, police as a whole generally will follow a direction. That's a good police officer will do what he's told and do it well. And but it's time to question. You know, do it honourably, but ask the questions. You know, they're just going to have to keep asking questions, and not only of the police force, but of the associations and the unions too. You know, they need to start going there. And as you know, with the email we got from the police association, that they believe that this, mandating this vaccine on the force is likely legal. Ask for clarification. Ask for the laws. Ask them to spell it out. Ask them what happens if I don't get it. Ask them, police themselves individually need to start asking the questions, because this is going to be a long game for them, and they need to start setting up the foundations for that too. So get it in writing, ask the questions, and keep asking. That's what they're going to have to do from the ground and the troops from within in relation to those mandates.
Well, look, Alex, as you know, I've been talking to a lot of police officers in the last, I think it's all kind of climaxed when you resign, to be honest. All of a sudden it was like, Alex resigned, let's all talk.
I had a mate on the phone yesterday, and he said, is it any coincidence that 4 days after you resign, they brought in the mandatory vax?
Absolutely no coincidence with that. But I think that they're barking up the wrong tree, because I like what you've said, Alex. As you know, we've been working hard to pull all the punches together, and we obviously would love to have the police consolidate their approach. Okay, so we've put a draft letter for them to consider, and we think it pulls all the punches. We talk about the Public Health Acts, we talk about jurisdiction, we talk about the Work Health Safety Act, the fact that it doesn't cover it, we talk about the Police Act, we talk about the regulations, we talk about the discrimination, because what the police commissioner is saying here too, we're going to interfere with your relationship with your own doctor. If you have a conscientious objection to these vaccines, because guess what, they don't provide any protection to this Delta variant, you got 70% of your cops vaccinated, but you're still getting sick cops. Why would I trust to have the vaccine if you're telling me that? Okay, so I think we'd like them to think, but we'd also like them to consolidate. Okay, and I think what we see as more powerful actions are consolidated actions. Okay,
look, this is going to be new for police, because police are essentially, through policies, are told to, if they have an issue, to take it up individually through their chain. So police are going to have to, reorganise themselves and actually, okay, as a group, whether that is, like I know Advocate Me have great stuff going, and we're consolidating and we're going to be putting things through. But still, I know the unions aren't on side, the associations aren't on side, but you still need to ask them the question, can you put us in a group and represent us collectively? Because we don't want this jab. This jab is potentially harmful. It's an experiment. They need to put this stuff to there, and they need to think critically about it, and they need to ask the questions of the unions and the associations, as well as come to Cops for COVID Truth and Advocate Me, and we'll do our best to help them out.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Particularly, I think you're right. Even though there's resistance from the association, I think your encouragement to put some pressure on the associations to do the job that they've been paid to do, okay, saying that something is likely lawful is kind of neither here or there. Right. You're going, I kind of feel like it. It's sort of kind of, it's the vibe. Yeah. And that's just really terrible that an association is not actually dotting its I's and crossing its T's. And we invite them to, I'm sure they're going to be listening to this interview, and, we invite the associations to look at the letters, to look at the information, to apply some sort of discretion. I know that there are many other associations, like the Australian Federation of Pilots and others, who are very pro the actual people they're representing. Okay, the pilots. So look, I don't think this is right, that you're telling the pilots to go and get this jab that could potentially increase blood clotting. Okay. we know a lot of police officers are on the road, are in vehicles, they're moving all the time. I mean, you know, the Pfizer and the AstraZeneca are causing detrimental adverse reactions in perfectly healthy males.
Yeah.
You know, this is a big issue, you know what I mean? Because it kind of
you are at risk of putting this stuff into your body. There's no doubt about it. And we know that. We've got the studies for that. You know, as far as the unions and stuff go, you know, in my letter, I asked them to start preparing to defend their members who don't want to be vaccinated. You know, that was nearly 12 months ago.
I know.
I know they have read that letter. You know, they're going to have to, because the amount of, I don't know how all these police got my phone number, but the amount of police that have been calling me, going, mate, it's come true, here it is. What do we do? You know, the platform's there for them. You know, it's the honourable thing to use the platform that's there. Don't be belligerent. Just, you know, go and ask them, let them know your worries. Can you put us in a group, because we know there's a lot of us, and start trying to get the ball rolling. If they're going to refuse or do anything along that line, maybe ask you money back over, you know, after all the years you've been paying them, because essentially they're there to help you keep your job if something comes up. And try and get them to work for you. If they're not going to, it's only going to support your case if you're going to have to go to court to defend it.
Exactly. I think that's a really very good advice in terms of paint the picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what you've been trying to do with the force for the last year, paint the picture.
Oh,
you know, but you know, but they were going to keep you there. That's right. I mean, look, Alex, I think that you fit in everything that is in the inherent requirements of a police officer, to be honest. I think you're the quintessential poster boy for everything that is beautiful about an Australian male, okay? You're articulate, you're kind, you're educated, you love what you do, you're a father, you're a loving husband, you know, one of the best of friends, always smiling, always positive. Yeah. Okay, you're a surfer boy. I mean, you know, you just fit in everything that we really all love about what an Australian male should be, you know. And what I'm seeing right now is a real sadness, because it appears that the poster boy, the quintessential you know, Australian boy and man. Sorry, I shouldn't say boy. I'm showing my age now. I'm showing my age.
Yeah. I turned 36 yesterday, for anyone listening.
Oh, happy birthday. That's right. Happy birthday. Oh my God. You know, but it's still young in my eyes. It's still young.
I feel young.
Yeah, and you are. You look so young, but you also have a young heart and a young spirit, but a very old soul. You know, because you could see so much, and you know, and you want to do so much. And I think, you know, what makes me really sad is our culture is targeting the guys that really should be going up for leadership roles. Okay, the kind of guys that have the vision, and the kind of girls that have the vision, you know, and you know, they're being driven out of the system. But I think by doing this, there's an opportunity for us to all come together as well, to find each other and find each other's voices. You know, what would you know, a message to your, you know, to your comrades, to your, you know, to your colleagues, you know, to the citizens out there, you know, what is it that you're inviting them to do by coming out so bravely and speaking so publicly? What is it that you're inviting them to do?
Look, it's the importance of it. It's that we're being lied to, and that people need to see the truth. You know, it's censored so heavily on the internet. Propaganda's just spread through the mainstream channels, and people aren't seeing it, and people are eating up believing it, and just bringing the bigger picture. You know, we use the term amongst ourselves, you know, awake or asleep. If you've seen through the veil, once you see through that veil, you know, there's no stopping. It's okay. You can think critically about any situation. So, you know, when you see something come up on the news, you're like, okay, what are they trying to get into us then? But what we need is, we need police to come back to community, and that's why I'm coming out. You know, police have been separated. They've been used as the bad guy. People are more scared of getting a $5,000 ticket than they are of a virus. You know, that's saying something. These fear tactics, police have been put in this position where they're being separated from the community and enforced on the community. But they are one and the same. What they are enforcing on the community, they're enforcing on themselves. Police are feeling isolated. Police are feeling like, you know, what do we do? This sucks, you know, but I need my job. It might not be why they joined, but they're now in a position where they kind of need the finances or whatever it is. But yeah, it's basically that division. And police are being used as this tool to push on the community. There's this massive division. We need to come back. We need people to start calling police station, taking cakes around, just let them know that like police are still there for it, you know. Thanks guys for everything you do. If something happens, I'm still going to call police, you know. Like I said, police are still my friends, but unfortunately the agendas behind it are creating a separation. And basically we need to bring police back to community and community back to police, and see the bigger picture together.
Yes, wow, Alex, this is so inspiring, honestly. I'm about to cry, but it's very inspiring because I love the attitude that you're fostering, that we need to be very gentle. You know, there has been this really big, you know, police versus the people. And I think a lot of police officers have found it very hard to come to terms with what they're being asked to do. You know, the other police officer that blew the whistle after you as well, you know, put that well in publicly in the letter about, you know, what they're being asked to do. Okay, so it's more than just about a vaccine, in my opinion. You know, this is about, you know, a way that is being brought through fascism, and fascism is being so flaunted now that you have to comply and you can't question.
What are we going down the lines of a social credit system? Is it going to get to the point where like you can't leave your house because, you know, you haven't had a jab? It's Saturday, only unjabbed people can leave their house on this day. What are police going to be enforcing in the near future, you know? You know, I believe there's already been mention on through some of the politicians that, you know, it's going to be up to businesses to check to make sure people have had a jab, like a vaccine passport, to enter or leave to be able to enter a shop or not. Are police going to be enforcing that? Like I tell you now, police don't want to enforce that. They're there because if someone's in trouble, they want to help. That's why people become police, you know? They don't want to be doing this piddly stuff that is essentially government agendas. And, you know, it's wearing them down. The police are struggling. Look at how many are off on stress leave since COVID. You know, I talk with them all daily, so many of them, and it's hard. Like they're going around to caravan parks telling people that they can't caravan, you know. It's silly. It's just silly. They should be there for when people need help, and that's why they join, and that's what they want to do, you know. That's what gives you purpose, and you want purpose in your job. What they're doing as far as these agendas, it's not purposeful. It's nitty gritty. It's absolutely ridiculous.
You know, Alex, it's a really important point, even for those police officers that have taken the vaccine, you know, out of many reasons, including fear, loss of job, you know, experiencing vaccine regret. You know, they might not be feeling so good after taking the vaccine and not feeling like they can talk about their side effects as well. You know, there's a lot of that happening as well. Ironically, I've witnessed that, you know, where they take the
Yeah, I know of one person who's tested positive for COVID, but I know dozens that have had ill effects from the vaccine. One today in the surf, he spent 2 days. I asked him how the waves have been. He said, I haven't surfed for 2 days. I got my first jab and I've been out. I've just been couch ridden.
Yep.
You know, and that's happening like almost everyone, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Alex, this is a big issue. And one of the bigger things is that, you know, it's amazing when people experience a violation on their bodies and on their selves, okay, but still toe the party line, okay? And even when they're sick on a hospital bed, they're saying, oh, it's okay, it's part of the sacrifice, you know?
It's the right thing to do, you know? It's the programming. You know, it is. Turn that TV off.
Exactly. And what I want to encourage from people listening to this is that we're not judging those who've gone and vaccinated. We're actually putting a olive branch and saying we understand, because it's not just about the vaccine, it's about what this represents. Okay, it's about the line, it's about crossing lines that shouldn't be crossed. Okay,
It is, and the big one's the choice line. You know, it's okay if you want to get vaccinated. If you think you've done your research, you think that that's going to help you, you feel like, you know, it's a full body yes, okay, that's the right thing for me to do. Yes, okay. But it's okay for the person next to you not to. And that's the important thing, because where does it stop after this? This is COVID, you know, and then they're saying 1 jab, 2 jabs, 3 jabs now, and then now they're saying annually. Where does it stop? Is this not the foundations for more and more things? And say down the track you've had all your jabs, but you want to say no to the next one.
Boosters, exactly.
Are you going to have the choice to do that?
Exactly. I want to talk about something really important as well that goes beyond the vaccines, is what you've mentioned it in numerous parts of this interview, but I want to really hone in on this, that, you know, what you also felt uncomfortable with was, you know, this push to go and be disproportionate regulation of the public, where, you know, it becomes about, you know, no longer about the issues that are really about safety. No safety issues are about family violence, child abuse, you know, drunk drivers, you know, drugs, you know, all of a sudden all these issues have gone out the window. Yeah. And the only priority is this little old grandma wearing a mask or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're more concerned giving a $5,000 fine to someone not wearing a mask. But mind you, people being locked in their home, is there not more, you know, child abuse going on? Is there not more domestic violence? Is there not, you know, there's bigger issues. We know suicides have gone up, you know, things like this, you know, and no, get out there on the street. We're going to be the face for this. We're going to enforce this. We're going to lock you in your LGAs. We're going to lock you in your homes. You know, you need a permit to leave Sydney, like can't cross the state border.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's diabolical, I think. And how, I mean, you could see that a year before this whole escalation point. And like you said, I think a lot of police officers are going on leave, getting stressed. Yeah. You know, this is really confronting their whole ethics. It's not just, oh, go and get the vaccine. It's go and bully people, be disproportionate. And a lot of police officers, you know, they're good at reading the laws. What you guys do, you read the law, you apply the law. And there's a really good legal practice that brought out a public statement about where they saw as well the laws are being breached in terms of the police, what they've been given powers to do, to follow and to fine, and not just to ask for a name and address, but to hound people and to terrorise. Undoubtedly, you're going to have a handful of police officers that might see this as an ultimate power trip, you know, and without appropriate leadership. Do you feel that there's going to be a big division from within?
I think there already is. Look, I've been to a protest. I know that some officers are forceful and others are, you know, they want to stand there and chat and be you know, a lovely police officer, you know. Yeah, look, I'm not sure where that's coming from. They're being directed to do certain things, and it's wearing different officers different ways. It is because and some, you know, there might be the odd one that sees a power trip, but you know, it's rare. But what they are being directed to do, you know, that's.
And as you said, when they are being directed to do that and they end up doing it, it's like you see this very typically with returned veterans from war. They start having complex PTSD, okay, because they've been asked to do things that they don't agree to, okay, and you're being pushed to your outer limit. It will tear down your soul, you know, it will impact your emotions, and that will create that. Is there a message out there? Like, one of the things that I've been really trying to scream out after you came out, and I was like, where are the police officers? Why are they not ringing us in droves? But ironically, it sort of took to this point. I think, and sometimes you need to build a narrative. People need to feel the trauma and the drama before they get to the point where they go, oh my God, this is too much. Too many lines have been crossed, okay?
Yes.
This is an invitation, I hope, for all police officers to consider that the lines should not be pushed anymore. let's claw back that line a little bit. Let's claw back the line that has been crossed way too many times. I believe the community is very willing to love and engage and create peaceful reconnections with the police force. I think if police officers find their voice.
Yes, that's right. Big time. Like your kids are going to go to school with a police officer's kids. You know, they are part of the community, and we need to get them there. Look, I think a big case of it has been the old head in the sand. Everyone do the right thing. I hope it gets better and we'll be back to normal soon. Clearly now that's not happening, and that's why these police officers are coming out of the woodworks. Look, I might have been able to predict it. You know, many people did. A lot of people I follow or listen to do. But, you know, but the average person who, you know, wants to take their kids on the weekend to do something and, you know, do their job and enjoy family time, and whatever they do, who don't really want to put in the study time to try and find the stuff that's not being put in their face, it's now been exposed. You know, it's gone so long-winded that they're actually seeing through it now. And, you know, we're getting so many police come to us now who are now seeing through it. I think we're getting to the point now with this vaccine, police are actually going to start to come up. And what we need to say to them is that there are honourable ways of which you can communicate that aren't going to put you in any sort of trouble. You know, it could be as simple as, like this example, we can provide them the legislation. They can take that legislation and say, hey, Council, look, Sarge, this is my comprehension of the legislation. I actually think that we're doing things unlawfully. Can you please qualify this? You know, that there's no harm. You simply ask the question. You know, and that sergeant is then going to go, oh, hang on, I think this constable's probably right. I'll chase it up the chain. Look, that one constable could have an effect on an entire police station. All of a sudden, that whole police station will not be enforcing these, you know, unjust laws. They're not laws, but, you know, unjust rules on their community. You know,
well, that's right. They're unlawful, and we say they're unlawful and unreasonable. You know,
yeah, we do, yeah.
You know, we're presenting our reading of the law. I mean, anyone can take the law and read the law and go, "Excuse me, sir, you say this here, but it doesn't say it in the law." You know,
look, I'd like to qualify that with you know, as far as police are busy. Police are busy at work. They don't have a lot of time like we might after hours sit down and study this. You know, they're at work, they're busy. It's go from the moment they get in there that they will be presented with, this is what the law says, this is the enforcement, these are your powers. All they get is like a little section from an app. Someone will put in an email, they'll get, look, you've got these new powers, these 4 new powers to enforce this one little thing. Mind you, it's not even law, never even been through Parliament. It's a rule that's, you know, a politician's made up, put on paper and said, go and enforce this. And there's no backbone to the law. It's not done properly. And police are getting that going, okay, well, that's that. Like, for instance, I called up a police station and asked them, you know, what about the Biosecurity Act? Doesn't that overrule the Public Health Act? And the constable on the phone said, no, the Public Health Act overrides the federal law. You know, you know, there's stuff missing there. Police
and we qualify this, Alex. Yeah. And we qualify this, as we were talking before, that you know, we know this has to be challenged. Like, we get it. You know, we understand that this needs to be challenged in a court of law. Okay. Yeah. You know, all these laws, you know, the inconsistencies, the fact that you've got the Biosecurity Act saying do a biosecurity control order, a symptom check, you know, medical practitioners, rights of review. You have the right to review that decision. If someone's saying to you, you've got to do something to your body, I can say, excuse me, I'm living in a democracy. I've got a right of review, okay? Yeah. All of a sudden, fascism is trending. You know, and we all have to just go, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full. You know, the Pied Piper is taking us over the bridge, and let's just all go jump. You know, and it's just phenomenal. We're saying, hold on, guys, we're here in Australia. There's something called democracy, you know, and you know, and there's these laws that really should be designed to protect us. They can't just go, oh, I get the vibe, it's the feel, you know. Yeah, measures. Why not? Make vaccines any measure under the Work Health Safety Act. And we say, well, hold on.
Yeah, that's
Let's
right.
analyze this. I mean, let's analyze this, and then there's the movie, let's analyze this, because we really do, we got to analyze the stuff. It's not just, but like you said, Alex, a lot of police officers are being confronted with a particular culture that they're used to, and perhaps now they need to find their voice. Okay, you found your voice. We are so blessed to know you. We are humbled. You're a real leader. Okay, you are truly what is representative of what we would all hope what police officers would act, be, the principles, the values, okay, that you embody, okay, the fearlessness that you embody, but the calmness as well, that you relay your thoughts with. We really are humbled. We are sad. I will be very truthful with you. I'm sad. I'm hurt that you've had to resign to find that, the ability for you to speak out. Okay, I mean, that they came after me and took my license. Okay,
Yes,
and I've somehow found I've even found my voice. Okay, without that, nothing stops you being a leader. Okay, resigning police officer
really,
doesn't
without COVID going the way it did, I would still be in the force. I really liked what I did. It was purposeful. I did highway patrol, but I changed 100 tires. I'd change 100 more. Like there was stuff about your day. You're there at people's worst, but it gave you purpose. And communities need the police, like we really do. And yeah, I had to step away. It was time. Someone had to speak. I didn't want it to be me. I really didn't. But someone had to say something, and someone has to get into the police and just let them know that, like, things are okay if you question. Things are okay if you just because the direction comes down from the top, you can sit there and use your critical thinking, which you would do for an investigation. Use your critical thinking and go, this is not really making sense. Maybe do a bit of research and just ask some questions. That's really all it's going to take. As far as the laws that have been, you've been directed to enforce.
Well, look, I have big hopes for the future. I do, even though it seems so dismal, and it seems, sometimes really dark. But when I talk to people like you, even if right now there's this little glitch, I call it the little glitch, okay, because we're all recalibrating. If I had to build a society within a vision of love and truth, then most certainly Alex Cooney would be the police commissioner. That's the kind of,
that far. Thank you.
Well, I would just say that, I'm sorry, it actually makes me really sad that, that I see paramedics, I see police officers, I see really high people with really high values that I admire, having to really be confronted with some very serious questions, really pushing them to their edge. But I just think it's so important for us to unite. I really see a lot in younger people at the moment. I see people in their 30s and 40s. I say they're still young. Okay, this is, in terms of career, I mean, that's still young, and you're building your career in your 20s and your 30s. Okay, you sort of level at 35 and you sort of start going into leadership roles. And I see that age group, I see a lot of people in that age group who, wow, I'm very impressed with, and I really, really want to build a society where the right people claim their space, and that's really what I hope that we can achieve through resisting peacefully, through standing our grounds, through education, and continuing to speak up. So thank you. I'm so humbled. What would you like to sort of leave the viewers with?
Look, I think I've said what needs to be said. We need to bridge the police back with the community, and police need to comprehend that they're doing things unlawful. We need to help the police who want choice around vaccines, and we're here to do that. That's what I'm here to do. That's what you're here to do. We're setting the platforms for that now, and we're there to help at the moment. You know, I don't have work at the moment. I left. You know, anyone's got a job for me. You know, but you know, I've left because these things need to be said, and guidance needs to be there. And that's what we're here to do, and that's what we're going to do. So let's do it. Yeah. Thank you, Serene. Thank you for everything you and Advocate Me do and everything you stand for. You are not just in Australia, but worldwide. People are taking note of what you're doing and replicating. And I know where you know, you've lost technically your license. I've lost my job. But we are meeting people that are just, you know, there to do the same. It's, yeah, you know, it's about opening. It's not about us at all. It's about getting the collective through, and, you know, just helping where we can. And, you know, I couldn't sit there at night doing nothing. You know, I was losing sleep doing nothing, and, you know, it came around again. I was losing sleep doing nothing, so I chose to resign so I can come and do something. You know.
Thank you so much. You are so pivotal here. Thank you so much, and we're so humbled, and I'm sure this is going to go viral.
Doesn't matter if it, you know, as long as it touches someone to, you know, help make that little bit of difference. You know, that one constable I spoke about, it could just, that one constable who all of a sudden, and they're not, you know what, all his colleagues can thank him because they're not going around enforcing this tyranny on people. You know, they're actually there to help the community again. You know, it doesn't matter, the right people will be touched by this, and you know, and those members of the public who are sitting at home in lockdown, if they're stressing, they're like, oh no, I hope this ends, or what do I do? Yes. Go attend a police station, take them some cakes. Cops love cakes. Just let them know how you've been affected by this. You know, let them know that you know, you're there for the police too. You know, bridge that, because you don't want to get down the line at a protest, and that's where you have an interaction with police, or, you know, they see you're not wearing a mask and that's your interaction. You know, we can start to get into them personally before then, so the members of the community can go see the police, pick up the phone, call them, let them know thanks for what you do. Like, we really need you guys, we really do. That's what can happen. So, you know, the right people will hear this, and the right people will take what they need from it, and, you know, more seeds will be planted, and we'll make the world better.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. We are so humbled and just so grateful. And yes, so let our resistance campaigning, our goodwill, our good gestures continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.